Greetings, greetings, family. Sista Shanice in the house, coming to you once again, live and direct from the Gambia. I certainly hope that you are well. I certainly hope that you are fulfilling your plans, your dreams, and that everything that you're organizing to excel as an individual, to contribute towards your community and your nation is actually going according to plan. I just want to share with you a presentation that I did yesterday to a group of about 25 students who are studying journalism at the Media Academy for Journalism here in the Gambia. I was privileged, I was honored to be invited to address the students. My plan was to inspire them, you know, to see the beauty and the benefits of their country. I'm sure you're all aware of that awful, tragic incident that happened last week where, you know, it was a boat that had about 150 young people packed like sardines on it, and the boat capsized, and about 60 plus young people from the Gambia actually lost their life. Well, when I went to the Journalism Academy to address the students, the mood was somber. It turned out that one of their students from that very same class actually perished on that boat as well. So our heart goes out to young Marima Fati. Our heart goes out to her family and all of her loved ones, and our hearts and our condolences go out to all of the family and friends of those young ones who tragically lost their life trying to get to Europe via the seas. And it's not a route that we recommend, or I would recommend at all. So, you know, it was this somber mood that I entered into, and my aim then, you know, was to start right from that point of slapping, you know, the idea of going to Europe via the seas out of the minds of those young people. You know, and from the outset, there was a young man there who said, well, you know, that was just an accident. It doesn't mean that next time, you know, they won't be successful. I had to show him that, you know, there was never any intention for those young people to reach their destination. They'd been put on a boat with no water, no food, and insufficient fuel to reach its destination. So they would never have reached their destination on that boat because there was not enough fuel to get them there. And it wasn't by design that there wasn't enough fuel. It was the plan of those wicked traffickers, you know, to just scam the money out of those young people. So we started a conversation from right there. And I'm pleased to say that by the time I ended my presentation, the young people were saying they felt inspired. The same young man who was thinking about, you know, going the back way himself decided that now he's thinking about what sort of business he can start up in the Gambia. So what I'm saying here, family and friends, is that it's really worth our while coming to Africa, and it's really worth our while sharing the reality about life in the West, because, you know, we need to let them know that the media, the Western media, does an absolute fantastic job of painting this really superficial, untrue image of their countries. And we have to break down that myth, and we have to make them see the truth and the reality of what the West is really like. So I certainly did that on my presentation. I'm going to share with you some snippets from my discussion, and I want you to hear firstly, from the young people themselves, the reasons why they are saying that they're prepared to take the risk to go via the seas to Europe. And then I want you to hear, you know, how their minds can be impressed and how their minds can be changed, because that is the work that we've got to do. And I'd also like you, while you're watching this video, to think about what maybe we can do as a collective. Shall we set up a GoFundMe page and try and raise some funds so that we can support the young people with their initiatives and their ideas? What can we do? We have to do more than just talk about it and feel sorry about the situation. So looking forward to your comments, your thoughts and your ideas. rise yourself up. And please remember to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you're watching this video, please remember to share as well. We have to get the message out there. One love, family, peace and love. Brother Ibrahim, thank you so much for inviting me to speak with the students here at your media college. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think there were so many highlights, but one of the highlights for me was a comment by a young man. What was his name?
Dauda.
You spoke to him recently.
Yeah, Dauda, actually, a week after the boat accident, we met at the school here. He said to me that it was just an accident, meaning that life doesn't matter, maybe. But today he confessed to say that he had planned to use the back way to Europe, but he has changed his mind now, thanks to your teaching, thanks to the inspirational notes you share with my students today. So I didn't see this coming, because when we were talking, it was like a normal conversation, and that was when we discussed this. However, the testimonies are eminent.
I may have saved a life, I tell you. It makes my entire journey worthwhile.
Remember, today, a student if it was not for your lecture, one of the victims who perished, Ghana, last week.
Yeah.
And she is one of those who sit next to my desk in this class. And then imagine it is a lady who always was versatile, speaks nice, but left this class without informing me that she had agenda to go to Europe through the sea.
Yes.
So this class was the right target to talk to people who need to realize their own potential and opportunities in the Gambia here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, thank you. It was my pleasure.
Well,
You've done the job for us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Why are young people ready to risk their lives to leave the Gambia?
Yes, I believe, sorry, I'm Isava.
Isava?
Yes.
Thank you.
Foundation 4.
Yes.
I believe the primary reason of why Gambians actually live here for this horrible journey is not because they have lived, not only because they have experience, but I believe what they need is not actually found. Maybe the job opportunities is actually very low. Maybe that is the responsibilities of the government now to show all the young ones, show all the youths the reason for stay. So I sincerely believe they are going out just in charge of bringing up us and so on. But if those things were here, like infrastructural development and so on, if we were having a lot of job opportunities for youth, then I see no reason why actually youth or strong youth will leave for this bad journey and so on.
Thank you so much. 9 of you out of about 25 of you here believe that lack of job opportunities and prospects is one of the reasons. You put your hand up. Please share with me.
Yeah, my name is Dora Balde, a student at the Foundation 4. I want to answer the question why young men are risking their lives to Europe. Okay, my point of concern is that everyone in this world wanting to live a better life, and especially in Africa, here only the rich people continue to enjoy. For example, like when you go to the schools, you see someone who is very intelligent, but due to lack of capital and no support, the background sometimes very poor, they doesn't have support, so they end up leaving school. Sometimes you struggle to graduate with good result, but when it comes to upgrading, you have no support. No one is supporting you. And when a scholarship is given to special people, you see the rich people, they will give it to their own sons or daughters in order for them to upgrade, while the scholarships come for the poor people. I think if the government should help, they should not consider the rich people. It should be considered to the poor people who cannot afford the help. So, someone who is a multimillionaire and a scholarship comes for the poor people, you just drag it and give it to the multimillionaire people. When I'm expecting the poor people to live a better life. So if you see these young men and women are living in this country, it's because of inside of greener pasture. So in Africa here, especially in the Gambia, I see no reason the government, they are not encouraging the youth to stay. They can just tell you, they will voice out to stay, stay, stay. At the end of the day, you keep on staying without anything. And even if you struggle for you to get a job, the job sometimes they pay you a salary of less than $2,000 for 30 days work. So when I go to earn, so if you see if no one wants to reach their life, but inside of greener pasture, you have to do so, because if you think that living here, obviously it is not favorable. So this is the reason why many people are dying in this sea nowadays, and that the government should act on that. They should create job opportunities for young people, because they are the future leaders. So that's a great deal for the people.
Nice, thank you. This is something that we'll find in a lot of what they call capitalist societies. Capitalist societies actually advocate, that the rich will be rich and the poor will remain poor. And that the poor will work for the rich, so the rich get richer. And these rich people will have millions and billions sitting in their bank account that they will never be able to spend in a lifetime. And rather than share, they don't. So a capitalist society, which is a completely different study altogether, we may decide, if we were to look at it, doesn't actually work for Africa. It doesn't work for Africa. Yeah? This capitalist society that's been imposed on Africa from the West actually promotes the rich to get richer at the expense of the poor. The poor is the majority and the rich the minority. Is that a system that we want to see for the next generation and generations to come? And if not, then there needs to be some studies, some serious studies of this system that's creating that kind of society where poor people remain poor and the rich remain rich, and where the poor people work for the rich for pittance while the rich get richer. There needs to be a new structure in society that is fairer for all. And maybe that's something that journalists always need to be calling for. A society that is fair for all. A fair society. A society that shares the wealth equally. That distributes the wealth within society. Yeah? And also to note very importantly that this is a society, in this sort of society, the vast majority are educated to leave school, college, university to go and work. The rich are not educated to leave university to go and work for someone. The rich are educated to leave and set up business and to run their own business to create employment. So society itself and the nature of the society that we're in is creating hundreds of thousands of millions of workers, but not creating the jobs. As you said before, the jobs are not here. So you're all studying, not just you all here, but millions of people across Africa, young people across Africa, are in the schools, colleges and universities, studying for jobs that don't exist. Where are those jobs? We're led to believe that those jobs are in the West. That's why people, one of the reasons, as you say, people are leaving here to go to the West to get those jobs. Because the education that you're getting here is preparing you for the jobs that are over there. Where's the education that's preparing you for the jobs that are here, or the jobs that need to be created here? What is the wealth within this country? Yeah, tell me, what's the wealth of the Gambia, please?
Yes, first of all, I will call from Patrice Boom. Now, this point is in Africa, the only way to get an ill-gotten wealth is in politics.
Good afternoon, I believe the wealth is among ourselves here, because we are the wealth of this Africa itself, because with us we can create the wealth. And then within that wealth, we can also develop ourselves in that wealth, I believe.
Right. The wealth is within you. Absolutely. That is a great answer and a great response. And quite often, we're not educated into seeing ourselves as being the ones that have the wealth, yeah, who are the creators of wealth. Africa is full of wealth. The people, its creativity, of course, but also the minerals that you have here on the continent. Yeah? You've got land. Yeah? There are Europeans who have been fighting Africans to get their land so that they can use it for agricultural production, because they know, yeah, with large tracts of land, they can produce food, a whole range of foods, yeah, for the supermarkets to supply the world. I'm here going through the markets and I'm seeing apples from South Africa. Whose economy is that benefiting? I'm seeing pears and grapes from South Africa. Whose economy is that benefiting? To the detriment of whose economy? Right, so if Gambia wants apples, why is Gambia not growing its own apples? Growing its own pears, its own oranges? Why is it not growing a whole range of fruit produces, not just to supply the Gambian market, but to supply other African markets? That's how wealth is created. You see the gaps and the opportunities and you create that wealth. Also, in addition to your green wealth, yeah, from you grow produces. So for example in Jamaica, let's use coconuts, yeah? Because I've talked about coconuts in my book. Who knows what you can make with a coconut or with coconuts? Oil. Cream. Body cream.
Gravel paste.
Huh?
Gravel paste.
Sorry?
Gravel paste.
Paste, yeah.
Biscuits.
Biscuits. Cakes, there's cakes to say, yes. What else can you make with coconuts? I mean, there's so many produces that you can make with coconuts. If you had coconut plantations, just grew millions of coconuts, from the top of your head to the feet, coconut oil, coconut shampoo, coconut hair produces, coconut for the skin, you can use coconut oil to drink, you can use coconut in toothpaste, the coconut case, the coconut biscuits, coconut sprays. There's 101 things that you can make with just coconuts. Multiply that up by the whole range of fruits that you can grow here. And do you begin to see the wealth in this country if you are educated to actually know how to turn that into money and to turn it into businesses and to turn it into creating businesses that will create jobs and opportunities instead of being educated for jobs that are abroad. Yeah? So I personally have a problem with the education system. Yeah? That's why I talk like this. Because from what I see a Eurocentric education being imposed on Africa, and Africans in every country, all 55 African countries, are using this European education system that prepares you for work that used to exist in the UK and America and places like that don't even exist there anymore. Those days with technology, a lot of those jobs are gone. A lot of those industrial jobs are not there anymore. So sometimes when people actually finally make it, you know, after passing thousands of bodies along the way that didn't make it, when they make it, they've got no money, nowhere to live. If you don't have your papers, your passport, you can't get a job. A landlord can't put you up in their house, you know? People end up sleeping on the streets. Every 9 hours, a homeless person dies in the UK. Every 9 hours. That's if you make it onto the streets. The vast majority might end up in what they call detention centres, but are more like concentration camps. And there are 101 horror stories about what happens in those detention camps. Yeah? And then after, if you survive those camps, they send you back. So you would have done that whole journey for nothing and for traumatized. Not only that, but tell me roughly how much do these traffickers actually charge to get on one of those boats?
Roughly 35,000 upwards.
$35,000 upwards. If 10 people put 35,000 dialysis together, because there's about 150 people on that boat, if 10 people put that 35,000 dialysis together, how much would you have?
It would be like 350.
Exactly, it's 350,000 dialysis. How much does it take to start a business here?
Well, with 10,000 you can start up with a small.
Right, with 10,000 you can start a small business. So why is the education system not educating people to think about working collaboratively or cooperatively to come together, to pool that sort of money together to start small businesses? Don't you think that would be better than, you know, people pulling their money together to give some wicked, evil trafficker that's put beautiful young souls on a boat, no water, no food, and not enough fuel to reach its destination? That boat was never intended to reach its destination. It was never intended to reach its destination because it didn't have enough fuel to get there. And this is one of many of these sorts of stories, because the West has said to all of these coastal countries, we do not want these people coming to our country. So they're paying them to not let the boats reach the West. And I've seen too many videos where we have these trawlers at sea. So you've got these boats now, they've run out of fuel, and they're floating on the seaway.
Yes.
And they'll float for days on the seaway. And then people will see a trawler. The trawler will throw 2 life jackets and 2 lifeboats. What do you think happens? Everybody on the boat does what? Panics and tries to get to that one lifeboat. I've seen a video where a trawler put a rope down, one rope. It dropped over the side of its trawler. About 150 people again on a boat. What do you think everybody on that boat did? All jumped to try and get that one rope. Who can climb up a rope to the top of this building? How strong do you need to be to climb up a rope? Not a ladder, you know, a rope. This is the wickedness that I'm talking about. But you don't understand the wickedness because you don't know these people. I know them, I live amongst them. How can you throw one rope and expect women with babies on their back, children, to climb up that rope? The first person who tries to get up the rope, by the time they get halfway, they're so tired. People are behind, pulling that person down. Others are in the water, trying to get the rope. People in the water can't swim, one rope. Before the people on the boat say, bye-bye, we'll continue, let the tide take us in. Might take another day, we'll all get there. Everyone wants to get that one rope. In Jamaica, we call that crab in a barrel. That means everybody for himself, rather than thinking about the collective. You know, and it's tragic when I see these, what I call games being played with the lives of our beautiful young ones. My sister wanted to say something.
Yeah, I wanted to say something. And I also believe that embassies also contribute to these youths going on this bad way thing, because a lot of embassies in the Gambia here, and like most of the youths that want to travel, the reason why they use this main bad way, like the seaway to Europe, is, I can say the main causes is the embassies. Like most of the youths have the money to go for the visa, but that money is not returned to them according to the rules and regulation of that embassy. So if today a youth want to travel in order to seek for a green passport, before going to this bag, first they will just go to these embassies in order to prepare visas. So what they would do is, like, if I'm black or if I'm Gambian or if I'm African, most of the time they reject them and without refunding the money to them. So that also contributes much in us African countries here. Why these African countries here? Why these youths are frustrated using the bad way? Because if there is a visa, no one will just go and use that way to go for a green passport. So embassies also need to
and the reason why that happens is because countries like Britain
they don't want you to.
has already said, it's too many black people in our country. We don't want no more black people in our country. We don't want, this is the white people, we don't want any more Africans in our country. So that's why they're not giving and issuing the visas.
So why are still they
It's
have
a business.
embassies
It's
in
a
the Gambia
business.
if they don't want visas?
Well, how much are the visas?
Well, actually, I don't know the rate of a visa.
Roughly,
in
let's
Gambia.
say it's $1,000.
Yeah.
1,000. Because my sister buys, I think she paid $45,000.
$45,000.
Yes.
So if they process 100 a week, how much are they making?
They're making like
Yeah, it's a business. They know they're not going to give you anyone a visa. Maybe 1 or 2 a week might get a visa. And then,
So that's the main reason why these ones are using this
yeah, because they want to go.
Yeah.
And they can't get it. They can't go legitimately, so they're trying to go the back way via the seas. You know, and again, it's because they want to leave here because the opportunities that are here, yeah, are not being, the West would say, exploited. Yeah? The people who could be creating these jobs and opportunities for you all are probably the ones that have left first. So who's going to stay behind and create these jobs and opportunities for the generations to come? If, you know, the minute people get educated, the first thing they want to do is go to the West. Who'd go to the West tomorrow if they had the chance?
Be honest, go on, be honest.
Be honest.
Be honest. If you could get the chance to leave tomorrow, who
If
would
I
you?
came with a pile of visas to take me to the UK, who'd want to go? Thanks for being honest. Thanks for being honest. Yeah. No, I did it before. I went to Jamaica and I had a group of doctors, yeah, trainee doctors. And I asked a question before I did all this stuff, and I said, if you had the chance to be a doctor in the West, how many of you would leave? About 80% put their hands up. And the government was saying that they're training doctors and they just can't keep them. Because as soon as they train up the doctors and the nurses, what do? Leave. And so who's benefiting from that brain drain? Who's benefiting from the skills and the energy of those people? The West. So why is it that the West is so well developed? Because they've got the best, they've got the brains for people from all around the world. Now, why is it that people are wanting to leave to go to the West? Believing that the jobs are there, even though I've told you the jobs are not there. What's giving you all the impression that the West is the best? Someone who hasn't spoken. What's giving you the impression that the West is the best?
Well, my name is Neketri. To my belief, most of them, they believe that the West is the best because if you're in the West, within 2 hours, you can make money.
Who gives you that impression? What makes you think that?
That's what they believe, because I was talking to some of them, that's what they say, like here, you can't work like 1 hour or 2 hours, you have money, but if you go to the West, within 2 hours, you can make money. You can do this, you can do that. So that's, that's their mental, the mindset they have.
Yeah. Who's given them that mindset? Where does that come from?
To me, it's coming from the West, like the way they see them dressing, and the pictures they are showing up, and all the, let me see.
They are influenced, they are friends that are there.
So there's people who are influencing them to come because they're sending pictures of them looking good, modelling, what have you, yeah?
Yeah.
And you said the West is sending out images that the West is the best. Now, we're going to come back to that. Go ahead.
Okay, well, my point of concern is that, to my own understanding, what I believe West is the best is because of different in currency. For example, like talking about pounds and dollars. Here in the Gambia, you keep on working, you see a man struggling for 12 good hours. You can earn a day of $100, and you work for 12 good hours with a minimum break of 2 or 3 hours. So in the West, according to what people are saying, that you don't work for 12 hours continuously. Sometimes you work for 8 hours, a maximum of 8 hours. And within those 8 hours, each hour, you have to be paid and the money that you are paid, if you convert it to the money in dollars, that means that a day you will keep on, someone will work here for 5 good months, and your 1 day salary there is equivalent.
So that goes back to the way that society is structured, because who controls the economy of the world? Who controls the money? Who says what the money is valued?
The superpowers are the ones controlling the economy in the world. That is China, the US. Sorry, I forgot the other two. The UK, yes. The superpowers are the ones controlling the wealth.
Yeah, right. So you're calling the superpowers, the West, the ones who are controlling the money. Yeah? Now, it's a very clever thing, this money thing, you know, because money really is just a piece of paper. It's a colourful piece of paper. Yeah? That's all it really is. But the West have very cleverly made us all believe that their piece of paper is more valuable than your piece of paper. And we've all bought into that psychologically. And they make us believe it because they tell us that every day in their newspapers, in their magazines, in their articles. These are things that journalists talk about, write about. How great their economy is. And business is booming. But business could be sinking. The economy could be failing. Britain's in the most debt. Britain prints money like it's going out of fashion. That's why they've got so much of it. Because they print a lot of it. Yeah? And they break all the rules. If it's your game, you can make the rules and... Right. And if the rules don't suit you, you just... Right. Okay? And that's what's really going on. Yeah? Now, like I said, money is just paper. But it's the energy that the mindset puts behind that paper that makes it work. I could have a farm, yeah? And I could say to you, come and work on my farm for me. You'll say, how much are you going to pay me? I don't have no money, no piece of paper. But if I say, I have 1 million pieces of paper, it's only paper. I'm coming to do the work that if we did it together, we could all benefit from. Yeah? But because that piece of land down there, the person who owns the land maybe doesn't have the pieces of paper to give you, you're thinking, I want to go over there to get the pieces of paper. When you could be creating wealth right here. You could be creating wealth right here. If you came together and worked together. Prior to pieces of paper that we call money, Africa had great civilizations, great kingdoms and great cities. How is it that Africa had those great cities, those great civilizations, those great kingdoms, and they didn't have money then? They might have used another form of exchange, yeah? But we had the mindset to work together. You know, this is, what I'm talking about is all in the school of psychology, yeah? And how our society and how the West have been able to very cleverly condition the way we think, yeah? Because if you can condition the way that someone thinks, you can condition the way they act, yeah? So a man thinketh, so he do it, yeah? So if I make you think that, tell me what the West makes you think of Africa. You tell me. Come on. Yeah, great.
Okay, first and foremost, I would like to answer this question. You said, why do we have the perception that the Western world is better than Africa? The reason is one, that is the education system. Because before, our forefathers, they don't know anything about these Western things, but when they come and enslave us in our own land, they use these little things just to tell us that Africa, because they know that Africa is a world that can develop with that can develop without any Western people coming here. They know everything that needs to develop a country is in Africa. That is why they come and change our system of thinking, our system of seeing things. They use us as slaves, because I can say they are still enslaving us in our own land, because they come here and tell us your president is a dictator, your this is doing that. While in Europe, what they are doing is worse than anything you can imagine, but they will not show it in media, they will not publish it, but they will just be teaching us how to hate our leaders. This is it, because they take everything that we can believe, and we no longer have any trust in any of our leaders. That is why they just come and impose their so-called education on us, telling us Africans are not civilized. They don't know how to read, they don't know how to write. While the only thing that we have here could have keep us till the end of this war. Yes. But they just come here and saying that yes, it is a now Western thing now. We should learn civilization, when civilization itself starts in Africa. So how can they just come and blindfolded our eyes and snatch everything from us, and still now they are controlling us.
Yes.
Give us later.
Brilliant, brilliant. So well said. That is all so true. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to adjust a little bit in that case. So, the issue of slave trade considered a lot. That's the wide reason why people believe that the West is the East. But in those days, golds and diamonds were found in Africa, not in the European areas. So
until today.
Yeah. No, you know, today nowadays to find golds and diamonds in Africa, you must visit the richest people in order to see it with your eyes, not just to have it, right? Because the European people, they have changed our minds, and you know, before they used to come in Africa, they don't consider the people who are not strong and weak. They only consider those who are weak and strong and can do a lot in order to develop one or two things. So they collect our ancestors and take them to Europe. They force those people to work for them, and until they are developed. Nowadays they come back and say that Africans are nothing, whilst Africans are the ones who contribute in the development of Europe.
That's right.
So,
and still continues to do so.
And secondly, African leaders also, they are contributing a lot to that, because they will go to Europe and beg. Instead, they should register a manufacturing industry. Instead of going there and beg those people, Africa, we have the natural resources that we can live without begging the Europeans. So all the leaders, what they need to do is they should invest in their countries. Likewise in the Gambia. The Gambia is full of flat lands and we have swampy water, where if you invest only on agriculture, you can employ hundreds of thousands of people without them thinking about it.
Who's got to do the work?
Yeah, so...
Who's got to do the work?
Right.
You've got to do the work. And what's stopping you from starting to do that work?
What's stopping you?
What's stopping you?
What is stopping the youth is because they don't have the backup, source of backup.
What backup?
The government should invest.
No, forget the government. Let's forget the government for a minute.
Okay, lack of capital.
They're just because that's part of the mindset, you see. Because they've created this society, where they're saying to you, unless the government helps you, unless the government says you can do it, unless the government speaks the right words, you do nothing. Right? Really? Can't you go and with a few friends, if you can find 30,000 to get on the next boat, can't you and a few friends pull some funds together to get some material or seeds or whatever it's needed to start something small and grow it? Yeah? In the UK, you might see, for example, Sainsbury's supermarket, and there's a Sainsbury's supermarket on every high street, every street, maybe today, but it started as one shop. Yeah? Every single one of those shops started as one shop. You know what sort of shop? A family shop. And they build and they build and they build, because they understand the importance of building family businesses. Yeah? Every family needs to have a business. And that's how we used to have it in Africa. You know, you knew who all the blacksmiths were. You knew those who were skilled in tailoring. You know the family that was skilled in X, Y, Z. In Jamaica, because Gambia, to how I see Gambia, is just a few, probably about 30, 40 years behind where Jamaica was, yeah? When I went to Jamaica all those years ago, it looks very much to how the Gambia looks now. Now, Jamaica is very, very developed, but Jamaica has lost a lot of the industries that it had because it didn't value it, because it thought everything from the West was right. So, for example, my mum's generation used to make clothes. We used to make all our clothes, yeah? All our clothes. There were machinists up and down the place. Now, what happened? The West started flooding Jamaica with their cheap clothes. So then everyone started wearing their clothes, abandoning their own clothes, and at the same time abandoning their industries. If they'd have kept those fashion industries and those clothing industries and all those looms, it would be a multi-trillion-dollar industry by now. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah? Now, I go around the Gambia and I'm seeing skilled welders, people welding gates and iron fences. These could be manufactured and sold around the world. But in order to do that, which you could do today, yeah, with the use of the internet, you can take pictures of those beautiful looking fences, furniture that I've seen the Gambians carve and make here. Yeah? You can take pictures of them, put them on the internet, create a website, because most of you can create websites now, yeah? Create a website, and you can have, tailor-made, you could be selling those fences, get some marketing words, you're all journalists, use your creativity and write a spec about the fences, the furniture, etc., including the cost of shipping. You've got a business right there. And you go to the man, I've got order for your fence. I've got a shop in America that wants 500 of your gates. Get them to send a deposit, pay them to make the fences and the gates, yeah? And then ship them over. Get them to pay the balance and ship them over. About opportunities, yeah? I see them sawing wood, and with the wood making all kinds of furnitures and things. Some beautiful things. It costs a lot of money. Clothes, your clothes, Photograph them, create a shop, an online shop. You've got a business there, an online business. Sandals, which you pay little money for, we would pay a lot of money for in the West. Photograph them, get them modelling the shoes. Put them on your online shoe shop, your online clothes shop, your online garden fence shop. Yeah? Farming. Speak to the farmers. Find out how much, farm produce is there, and find the buyers for it. And be the agent. Yeah? Be the broker. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, the education that's needed here is to give you the ideas and the mindset to do, and our slogan in the West as Africans is to do for self. We know we have to do for self because that government ain't looking after us. I know you have an expectation that your government should look after you because he looks like you, but the reality is that he's working for the West and he's doing what they tell him. All the African governments. And if they don't, they'll get rid of him. And they'll put someone in who will do what they want them to do. Yeah? So, but we know as Africans that government doesn't help us. So we've got to do for ourselves. So I hope that's been really useful. It isn't what I planned, but I do hope that I will still have time to go on to talking about us having control of our narrative. Because as journalists, this is what you have the power to do, to change the narrative.
I think that has been a very good lecture, but while we trying to sift attention and make some adjustment, this is the essence of the class, because every day, especially for this month, we've been very busy on taking notes and then it's almost time to practical and assessment because we're going to debate, but time to time we told you that we can have such interjection, which we find very useful. So maybe just within 5 minutes we take question and answer. Do you have one question? Maybe you have something that is because you've been giving your point of view. What do you think?
Can I say something?
Quickly, yeah.
Just 2 minutes.
Quickly, yeah.
For people still thinking about going to the West and getting a boat, people who reach Europe and America, you're at the bottom. You don't get no jobs because you have no papers. You end up as slaves in Saudi Arabia. You end up on the streets in England in the cold, begging, prostitution. You're better off here. It might seem like it's hopeless, but you're not hopeless here. Like what Sista Shanice just told you. Try and see ahead. Don't see running to the West as a problem solver, because it doesn't solve nothing. I've seen it for myself. I've seen people out there begging. I've seen people who's been recruited into the slave trade, end up in Libya, being in auction blocks, being sold as slave every Friday in Libya. I've seen that. You understand? So don't think that your life is that bad here. It's not. I come here and I would live here tomorrow. The only difference is the little piece of paper. But find a way to make that piece of paper. Africa is the richest continent. The West is surviving because of Africa. Mm-hmm. That's why they're still surviving. They've been surviving for the last 300 years because of Africa. Mm-hmm. Minerals. So you're living in paradise. You've got a beautiful beach, you've got a beautiful country. It's like Jamaica. I'm born in Jamaica, I grew up in the UK. And I'll live here tomorrow because you remind me of Jamaica. So love your country, first of all. If you don't love your country, and don't think about just money. Health, if you haven't got health, you got money. You understand? So please, stop. If you hear anyone trying to run away, try and discover it. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic, because seriously, Africans are so creative. There is this lady, the name I did not get up that much, but she had a poultry. She said it was a family poultry farm. So she decided to do a business on her own because she is also planning to have her own family. So, but she said the way the business is going is horrible because of these exported eggs. Her poultry farm, the eggs are just amusing, but people are not supporting in buying it that much because of what exported eggs. People are going in for exported things more than things that are in the Gambia because they feel like exported things are more important. They are much more better than what is here. So it is a big concern.
Again, we've got to change our mindset. Now, if we're going to encourage everyone here to set up business, like the lady you said who's got the poultry business and the egg farms, we have to let our people know that, the eggs from the Gambia are healthier than the eggs that come from foreign. Because the eggs that come from foreign are coming from chickens, battery chickens. There's so many chickens in the room, that they peck each other, and because they keep pecking each other until they bleed, they have to inject them with Prozac, which is like a drug that makes them feel slow, They inject them with Prozac, and because there's so many chicks in a room, and there's so much feces from these chicks, they have to give them chemicals and steroids and things to stop them getting infection. And because they want them to grow big quick, as well, what they have to do is give them another type of injection, a hormone injection, to make them grow fat quick and lay more eggs. Now, everything that goes into that chicken will go into the egg. So if we eat the egg or if we eat the chicken, we're also consuming the Prozac, those chemicals, those hormones and everything. And it's those things that are causing the cancers and the sickness. There's nothing better, no food better than organically grown, naturally grown food. Naturally grown, reared chicken and eggs. So there's a huge amount of work that needs to be done by health specialists here to raise awareness amongst the Gambians about the detriment to your health for eating foreign foods. There will be people who think, I'm not eating. Where's this come from? Foreign? Gambian? Gambian. I'll have the Gambian. So that's one major piece of work that needs to be done. Secondly, very importantly, if you're all foreign businessmen and women, and over here you're all Gambian businessmen and women, if everyone buys from the foreign men and women, what happens to the Gambian businesses? They collapse and they die. But if everyone is conditioned to buy Gambian, and we had a campaign like that in Britain. Britain saw this happening. Britain was losing its businesses. Everybody was buying foreign imported foods and goods from different parts of Europe. So they had a Buy British campaign. Yeah? Buy British, buy British, buy British. And it was the journalists that was spreading the Buy British campaign. And so everybody, when they went to supermarkets, started thinking, is that British? Yeah, I'm going to support it. Because they're patriotic and they wanted to support their country. Yeah? And if everybody then shops with the Gambian businesses, which businesses are going to prosper? Yeah. But if you walk past a Gambian business and spend your money with a foreign business, a Chinese business, an Asian business, or these other businesses, whose businesses are going to grow? Them. But if you grow these businesses, in time, what will they be able to do? Create jobs and opportunities. Yeah? We have to learn to support each other. Support each other's businesses. Yeah?
Yeah, I just have a statement and also a question. Yes, first of all, I wish I had a better adjective to describe as to how grateful I am towards this guide. Considering the population of the Gambia right now, the majority of us are actually youth. And it is very easy to change the mind of the youth. As you are speaking right now, I'm looking at you, but I'm not hearing what you are saying. What I'm thinking right now is, how can I start my business move? It's just, it's because, like, you have easily changed my mind. And I'm very much sure because we have much use, it's very easy to change our mind as well. I want to ask you this question. You as an individual, who is actually who is much involved in youth activities and so on, and actually enlightening the youth as to what they should do. What are your plans? At the end of the day, what are your plans or what goals do you want to achieve concerning the youth? Because not only in the Gambia, but most West African countries use careers mostly. In fact, in the Gambia, I think I had it for one. This man who was in TRC, Mr. Mustafa Kala, I think I don't know 59 or 61, either of the two. Of Gambian populations are actually used. So it's very easy to change the minds of youth.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you, like, what are your goals or what do you want to achieve in Africa here and the world, and like, how do you want to change the mindset of the youth? Because right now, to me, I think you have changed my mind. I'm thinking of how to start my business.
Good. Yes. Yay! Yay! Yeah, and you're going to start today, and nothing happens overnight. Yeah? Businesses often start small and you grow them. You get family to support your business as well and make it become a family business, because you can trust your family. You know who your family members are. You know the good ones, you know the bad ones. You know who's going to help you. You know who's good with money, who's not good with money. Yeah, you know your family. So family is good to start something with the family. So the first thing you do, you sit down with your family and you say, you think about what assets do we have? What do we have that we can do? What are the skills that we have in our family? Yeah? So the first thing you do, you sit down with your family and you say, you think about what assets do we have? What do we have that we can do? What are the skills that we have in our family? Yeah? What are the talents? What are the gifts that we have in our family? You tell me what my gifts are, I tell you what your gifts are. Because sometimes people can see in you what you don't see in yourself. Yeah? What are my gifts? What are my skills? What are my talents? Yeah? Okay, I want to utilize my gifts and my talents to start a business. Yeah? And you get together, what have you got? Have you got land? Have you got a cow? Have you got goat? What have you got? Because you can start a business with even one goat, because you know that one goat is going to have kids. Yeah? And then those kids are going to have kids. Yeah? So, for example, when I went to Zimbabwe, we met with a group of landmine victims, people who got blown up. They lost their arms and their legs because the European Rhodesian army had planted loads of bombs, landmines, yeah, during the war. And the landmines are still there, and that's a whole other story. And they said that they wanted to be independent. They didn't want to rely on the government or anybody. These were independent people who were going about their farming and doing their business, because Zimbabweans are very much like that. They're always looking for a business, always looking for something to do. So these landmine victims, said that they wanted a commercial activity. So I went back to the UK and I did some fundraising for them, and I said, this is how much we've raised, what can you do with it? They said that we can start up a commercial goat farming project. You can buy about 50 goats, about 45 she-goats and about 5 lucky he-goats, and we can start a commercial goat farming business. And within 2 years, not even 2 years, within less than 2 years, they would have over 200 goats. The chief had given them the farm, they started fencing off, they showed me the pictures, they ended up buying 63 or so goats with the money that we got them, and that was just just under $2,000. They started that goat business. Yeah. So imagine, 4 or 5 people coming together and pulling some money together and starting a business. Yeah. So businesses, they do start small. The education that we get tells us that you need a lot of money to start a business, and that you have to start big, and you need your office and your 10 members of staff, and you need X, Y, Z. No, you can start as a sole trader, or you can start as a partnership, or you can start as a cooperative. Yeah? So the first thing to do is to sit down and get your business idea. And once you've got your business idea and you know what it is you're going to do, then you need to get your business plan. It doesn't have to be a comprehensive plan, but you need to know what you're going to do step by step. Yeah? You're going to need to work out how much money you need, what equipment you need, if you need equipment, what resources you need, what materials you need. You need to know what you need to get started. So it might be, for example, that you're an excellent machinist, and you know someone who's a good pattern cutter, yeah? And you're going to go in business together, and you need 2 or 3 sewing machines and some good scissors to get started. And quite often what I've seen here is that most people, they do individual projects. But if you start thinking big, what you'll do is you will think on an industrial scale. So you make some nice trousers, yeah? So now you're going to look to cut 10 trousers at a time. And while someone's cutting, someone's sewing. While someone's cutting, someone's sewing. While they're sewing, when they finish, someone's ironing and putting them on the shelves. By the time the end of the week, you've got 50, 100 trousers that you can supply to a market. Yeah? So scale up. Whatever it is you can do, you're thinking of doing, think how it can be scaled up as well. Does that answer what you just asking? That started a business.
No, I just wanted to ask, as you are working with young people now, what do you want to achieve? How do you want to change the mindset of young people?
Oh, I'd love to be in a position to, have access to groups of young people on a daily basis to change the mindset. But what I'm going to do after the break, I'm going to come back to that, yeah, because I've got a video clip that I'd like to play, and the person talking, you'll all probably know him, and he's talking about the exact same thing, about changing our mindset.
Tell them what you've done in the past with young people in England.
Oh, so much. Where would I start?
Just a little
I set up
part.
an academy, for example, and it was a music academy in the UK because a lot of our young people were into music. And I built a music studio, a dance studio, a stage. We got lots of donations of equipment and stuff, so we had a fully kitted academy. And lots of young people would come in after school, some would go in the music studio, some would be writing, and I organised the performances and showcases, etc. And some of them went off and did very, very well, but I didn't really want them to go off and give their skills and talents to Mr. Whiteman. I wanted us to form a kind of Motown thing where we are the businessmen and women. Yeah, we are the ones who are marketing and promoting our talent ourselves. But because of the mindset, it's like anything good, but it's not going to be great until Mr. Whiteman buys it or Mr. Whiteman endorses it. And that was the mindset. So I was losing a lot of the young people, building them up, you know, bringing out their skills and their talent and their potential, and then they were good for them, going on TV, going getting record deals and signed up and all the rest of it. But what the white man tends to do is they take all their skills, take all their talents, take all their ideas, and then they train their white artists to sound like black people, to dance like black people, to dress like black people, and they leave those artists, what we call, on the shelf. That's what they were doing. Those artists would have been better off doing for self. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to do for ourselves. We can't wait for someone to do for us. So that's just an example. I spent, good 20 years or so running that music academy. There were some that started up businesses, many that went on to go into teaching, in colleges, in nurseries, in schools. I bump into them all the time. Some have gone into business. Basically, what I gave them, I think, more than anything else, was inspiration, and a drive to want to succeed. And I think that's what came out of me and into them. And music was just a magnet to pull them in. And once I had them in, I just transformed their mindset.
That's it.
Thank you very much. Carry on, please.
Yes, he said Africa is looked as a doom and gloom because we, the black people here, we don't believe in ourselves. We believe in most of us here, we have the ideology of imitating people from the Western world, like the way they sing, you understand, and the way they rap, you understand. We see them in their clips where
Okay, throw your voice please above the generator.
Good day to everyone.
Good day.
I am Usman Gidao from Bristol. Just want to ask something from what my brother just said about the speech from Akon, our brother. Yeah, he mentioned that in the West or in the United States of America, their media, they are selective. They don't expose their evils. They only reveal things that are favorable for them, and the things that are not favorable for them, they will never share with the public. And also, Africa, we the Africans, we always admire the power of Americans or the Europe, the Westerns, whilst we have the great peoples among ourselves. And he mentioned the rights of Davido and the whiskey. He said, and also what he mentioned was that we the Africans, we should try to promote our culture. We shouldn't forget our culture. We should always protect whenever in our magazines, the storytellers and and filmmakers should always portray the image of Africa in the wider world, so that the world can know that Africa also has a rich culture and traditions. And I think I can stop here.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, whose responsibility is it to portray Africa and the image of Africa that you would all, I'm sure, want to see, the rest of the world see? The power is in your mind and in your pen. What you write is what the world will read about your country. And the Americans know that very, very well. The British know that very, very well as well. The British used to write in their books and send it to Jamaica that their streets was paved in gold. There's no gold in England apart from the gold they take from Africa. But they would write that the streets were paved in gold. And they would tell you all these wonderful stories about England, to make you believe that England is the greatest. In fact, they don't even call their country Britain. They call it Great Britain. To make you all think, wow, this place is great. And you go there, and every corner on the street, there's people sleeping in the street with sleeping bags. They're homeless in the cold, freezing country, one of the supposedly richest countries of the world. People are sleeping in the streets. People are freezing to death. People are dying. Old people are living in their home, and it's so expensive to heat their home. They don't turn on the heating because they don't want to get the bills, and they death in their home. People walking around like skeletons because they've got no food to eat, but they hide all of that. They don't tell you about that. No, what they do is they find little rich man over there with a nice house and a big swimming pool, or whose business is doing well, and they'll tell you about him. They'll tell you about their businesses that are doing well, and they hide their dirty washing. But there are many organisations out there, writers like yourself, who are exposing what's really happening in England. But you'd have to know where to look to find those reports. You're not going to find it on the BBC or Fox News or CNN or any of those lights, because they're going to give you this imaginary picture that a lot of us buy into. But what they also do is they demonize our culture. Yeah? They demonize everything African to make us want to shun it. Yeah? Tell me about the image that you think the West portrays of Africa. So one word. When the West talks about Africa, tell me the sort of image that you get.
Wars.
Wars.
Poverty.
Poverty. Poverty.
Famine.
Famine.
Uncivilized.
Uncivilized. Sorry? Tell me. Barbarism. Yeah?
They call them hungry.
Hunger. Children died of hunger. Slavery. Huh? A grave. An S-hole. Yeah? Now, these are journalists who are writing all of these things all the time about Africa. Why? Because when they talk about poverty in Africa, it's actually to the financial gain and the financial benefit of the aid agencies. When they talk about war in Africa, it's to the financial gain of the military, because then they can sell more arms and more machinery and more weaponry to the African governments, because they let the African governments think that they need it for war all the time. But we shouldn't be buying into that. Yeah? When they talk about corrupt governments all the time, and there are no governments more corrupt than them, they're the most corrupt governments going. But they're not going to talk about their corruption, but they'll point to the corruption in Africa. Because when they talk about corrupt governments all the time in Africa, then the people have no confidence in their government. And the people want regime change all the time. That means people are never going to be satisfied, never going to be happy, always going to be despondent with who they have in power. Remember, they created a system where you're looking to the government to be the ones that's going to bring about the change that you need. They haven't given you a system that's empowering you to be the change that you want to see. They're not giving you an education that's empowering you to utilize your God-given skills and talents and gifts while you're here to make the change that you want to see. Yeah? So the power of the journalists is phenomenal. They can give you a story that you believe, and they will give you images that you will then buy into. So if they're going to give you an image that the streets are paved in gold in the West, what are you going to want to do? Go to the West. And if they give you an image that Africa is poverty-stricken, full of hunger and starving children, and it's a graveyard and there's nothing good going on in Africa, are you going to want to stay here? No, who wants to stay in a home or a country like that? And this is what the media has been doing. And what Akon was also saying is that we buy into it. We add to those stories. And we're not telling a different story. So when we started traveling to Africa, we couldn't believe how beautiful Africa is. Because no one had told us. No one was writing about the beauty of Africa. No one was showing the pictures of the beautiful beaches, the sea, the sunsets, the palm trees. That's paradise. A white man's dream. Every dream of every white man is that they don't have to work. but that they can just sit in a hammock under a palm tree all day long. And you've got that. Their dream is to be able to not have to work and slave from 9 to 5 every single day, but to walk along the white sandy beaches, to feel the sand in their feet, to get the smell of the sea, to be able to eat fresh fish, fresh fruits from the tree. That's their dream. But they're not telling you that you have that. Yeah? They make you believe that what you have is worthless, and they demonize everything you have. So they demonize our culture, demonize our language, demonize everything. That's what they do, because in so doing, by making us feel inferior, who are they making feel superior? Right. But if they made us feel superior, who would be inferior? They're not going to want that. So it's for us to build up Africa. It's for us to create a new image of Africa. It's for us to tell the world all the beauty and the good things about Africa. And what will happen is, more people will want to come to Africa, more people will want to invest in Africa, more people will want to come and create jobs and opportunities and businesses in Africa. But for as long as the picture of Africa is of war, poverty, and everything else, people wanting to leave, the rest of the world will continue to go to America for holiday, to go to France and Europe for holiday. Yeah? But why should they not come to Africa? We go to Zimbabwe this year, next year we're going to Tanzania as well. And we see the elephants, the beautiful elephants, the lions, you know, we see turtles, 300-year-old turtles. They've got none of that in the West. You know, elephants that can just walk the terrain. These people even demonize the animals so they can justify killing them and take a photo with a lion that they've killed, or a giraffe that they've killed, or an elephant that they've killed. But that's not the African way. The African way is we have those animals as totems so that we look after them. We have existed for millions of years, and we have coexisted with the animal kingdom, with the plant kingdom, with the mineral, the marine life. And as has already been said, we civilize those people. They came out of the caves. They're descendants of Neanderthals. Look up Neanderthals, and you'll know who they really are. Yeah? We had to civilize them, but they are a very cunning, manipulative, conniving people, and they come into your home as friends, pretend they're nice. Oh, let me set up a school. Oh, let me look after the children. Then they're molesting the children, yeah, they're molesting the ones in the schools, and then soon more of their friends come, as they did in history, and in no time at all, they've got systems where you can't do this in your home land, you can't go here, you can't go there. System of apartheid, system of enslavement starts all over again. We've got to make sure slavery never happens again. Yeah? We have the power to be the change that we want to see. We have the power to create the tomorrow that we want to see. I think is it time?
Next video.
Next video? Okay, we'll just play 5-10 minutes of this video. Kind of reinforces what we've been talking about for the last couple of hours, yeah? From two different perspectives. The power of the single story. You tell someone a particular story over and over again for long enough, and as she said, that's what they become. Not only in the minds of those who the story has been told of, but in the minds of those who don't know the people who the story has been told of. So whose job is it to change that narrative? Yeah, your job to change that narrative. So let's make sure that we're not buying into the single story by only putting out the really awful stories about Africa. But let's make sure that we're doing what we can to change the narrative by putting out the beautiful photographs, the beautiful images, telling the great stories. I went to a fashion show at the weekend. This is where I met the group. The models were beautiful. The fashion designs was amazing. I'm doing a show about it on the Sista Shanice show. It should be uploaded by tomorrow. It's all about Gambian fashion. As far as I'm concerned, that event could have been put on any stage in any country in the world. Why Gambia doesn't have a huge fashion industry here is beyond me. But you can all talk up the need for this and encourage your people to do it. Because when you write articles about fashion, get some images of some of the clothes that your people are wearing. When you talk about beauty, get some pictures of your beautiful women. Yeah? Talk up your beauty. Talk up your greatness. Celebrate your country as if it's the best country in the world. That's what other countries do. They talk about their country as if it's the best country in the world. And then they keep doing it so everybody believes it and wants to come and visit and wants to contribute and wants to help and wants to invest. So, just to wrap up, let me take maybe one or two more comments from maybe some of you who haven't spoken as yet. And in those comments, actually, if you can tell me, was I wasting my time here today? No. Was I wasting my time here today? No. Oh, that's good. Did you get something from me today?
Yes.
Okay, great. What did you get from me today?
It's a great pleasure to have you here. And
Follow.
it's a great pleasure to have you here. I personally, you inspired me.
You personally?
I personally, you inspired me today.
Wow, I'm honored.
Yeah.
I'm honored. Thank you very much.
And we miss to have you here.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm going to come back maybe next year if you're all still here, yeah? And I want to find out what you've been doing between now and then. Then I'll know if you've really been inspired, yeah? Okay.
And as you also said, you will change my mind and since you're talking about Africa. Like, I once went to one lake here and I took these pictures. It was assignment here in this school. So I'm like, this is really beautiful and I have to do it and post it on my blog. And
Post it, say it's Africa, yeah, where it is in Africa. Get your beautiful pictures and post it. Thank you so much. So I've inspired you to represent Africa and its beauty on your blog, on your post. Have I inspired anybody else or has anyone else got anything to say? Did you say something?
Yeah, actually, I am also inspired because today you stepped my mind.
Great, thank you so much. That's wonderful. And I hope I inspire you to take action, yeah? Take action to maybe write something great about your country. Write something great about your village. The fact that you still have family life here is something great. That you value family, you value life, you know, that is fantastic. One or two more final comments or, you know, whatever you want to say. Yes, my dear?
Okay. My final comment is that, to be honest with you, I am really inspired today. But my final point is that to all the youths who are here and those who are not here, let us stop waiting for the government and be the king of ourselves.
That's our motto. Did you want to say something? No? But did you?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
You have really inspired me because I'm sitting here and thinking like I'm in so many youth groups. Like I was like, if after school I'm going to say something like what we can come together and do. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Excellent, excellent. Do that, and I want to get the feedback as well. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Aminau. I just want to elaborate on what he said about doing it for ourselves. The best thing we can do, I think, firstly, we should support ourselves.
Yes.
We should be supporting each other. Because Gambia here, what I'm saying is that anything you said about the West, that's what we go in for instead of doing it. You are doing something here, and what the West are doing, but we will be able to support ourselves because we think that what the West is providing is what's quality, and what we are doing is quantity. What we are doing, actually, it's the quality.
It is.
That's what I believe in. And there is something it's a company, I don't know, a group startup that they call Techifi. That's been said in English. I think you can be successful or you can make it here.
Yeah.
For me, I believe in it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that is when we support each other.
Yes.
Yes, we can really do it here.
You absolutely can, most definitely. And as you say, supporting each other, critical as well, because if you don't support your own and you're supporting others, they will benefit to your detriment. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Greeting once again.
Greeting.
As
Okay, one voice, please. We won't be much longer. Just one.
yeah, today's discussion has really inspired me a lot because I was thinking of going to Europe. But as I'm sitting right now here, what I'm thinking about is after leaving this building, how to establish my own business, because I don't remember a proverb which says that wanting to be someone else is a waste of the person you are.
Yeah.
For example, like you are an African and you want to be a European, and it cannot be possible. So really this discussion has inspired me a lot.
Thank you so much. Be proud of who you are. Let's be proud of who we are. We are a beautiful race of people. We're a beautiful people. You know, it's our ancestors that were the ones that civilized the Europeans. We had our great kingdoms, our great cities, our great universities. And if we were great before, we can sure be great again. But we have to have the mindset and the determination to be great, and we certainly can do it. You're the future. The pen, you can write the future, yeah, with your pens as well. And you can all inspire others to be great as well from the articles that you write. You know, find those little boys that are doing something really creative and really well and write about them, celebrate them. And like Akon says, give them the image, give them the superstar image, yeah? Don't just maybe photograph them as they come in running out in the sand and they've got their house clothes on, you know? When the Europeans are going to be featured on TV or in a magazine or something, they get made up by makeup artists, they get their hair done, sometimes designers put clothes on them, and that's how you see them. Yeah? But over here, what we have the tendency to do is to show our children when they're playing in the yard. Yeah? No, fix them up and make them model and look good in some of the clothes that you can all make. Yeah? Like you fix them up to go to a wedding or something. Yeah? Put your beautiful images up all over the Facebook and social media, write articles, you know, about your clothing, about your makeup, your hairstylist. Celebrate your country, the beach around the corner. Yes.
And yes, one more thing. I think we definitely have to thank you very much for coming up with the idea of telling us about our home. You could have chosen to come here and tell us about UK, America, and then we go home, we all get frustrated, want to sell our lands and we go there. But when you come with this idea of telling us our own, that we can make it here, and definitely you have really inspired us. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Ibrahim, for inviting me. Much appreciated. Thank you.